I feel like there's so many cheesy quotes about opportunities, but I feel like some of them are true. Is that a hot take? I don't know.
A hot take. Ooh,
Hot take.
opportunities. Everything happens for a reason. Opportunities come to you, manifestation, law of attraction, blah, blah, blah. But honestly, Waylon, what's an opportunity that you wish that you said no to? That is the tea.
Oh, I feel like that's such a good question because so often we focus on like what opportunity changed your life? Like what did you say yes to that changed your life? Something
Yeah.
that I said no to.
Something you wish you said no to. Something you said, you don't have
Something
to
I
be,
wish.
yeah, you wish you said no to. Going
Ooh.
back.
You see, as cheesy as it is, like I try not to live with any regrets. So
Regrets. That's fair. That's
I'm gonna
fair.
say there's nothing that I would have preferred not to say or preferred to say no to. I
Yeah.
think there are things for my mental health that I probably
Ooh.
should have said no to. Like, for example, in high school, I was a part of like 5 or 6 different clubs, and I was like, let me be a leader of all of these clubs and do 500 different things. And even though that experience shaped me and like taught me a lot, it was probably a good moment for me to be like, hey, like, you don't have to say yes to everything. What about you?
Yeah. I'm kind of thinking opportunities. Obviously, when I think of opportunities now, especially in this context, I think of like an opportunity that you're putting on like a resume or LinkedIn or whatever, that sort of thing. But opportunities can be so much fun, and they should still sometimes even be said no to in some ways. Even like friendships are an opportunity, going to a party can be an opportunity. Yeah, like everything is a one-way opportunity. But I think right now it has such a like a triggered word almost. Like when you think of opportunity, you think of words like building yourself, better yourself, motivation, opportunities, get those opportunities. But some of the opportunities that are the best in life are those spontaneous ones. Like, hey, 3 a.m., let's go for a walk in the city, like things like that. Like that's an opportunity. Like
100%.
I love that idea of plain spontaneity. But yeah, sometimes I think something that we've both been working on this year is saying no to things that we know we should have said.
That's been
We
our
should have,
big
yeah,
2021 goal, I feel
our
like.
goal has been to say no. What? I think it's because, okay, this sounds bad, but I think it's just because you and I went so far down one end of the pendulum. We're now like, let's say no, let's say no.
I know,
So for those who don't
100%.
understand, Waylon and I are yes bitches. We're down bitches. We say yes to everything, which is great until it becomes not great, because then you say yes to everything and then you commit to everything except yourself.
Oh, and
Aww.
also I feel like it comes to a point, especially this year, where I realized by saying yes to everything, I'm not even getting the most out of opportunities. So it's like, yeah, sure, I'm doing like 500, like I'm doing like 5 different things, but like how much am I actually learning from each of those things?
Yeah.
Um, and on the comparative in high school, like you could still like lead a bunch of clubs and that was okay because like Monday through Friday, like you were only doing school, like you would see your friends at school, like that was kind of like the main social part, and then you would like
Sure.
go back home and like do club stuff, and that was fine and the balance was still there. But definitely at college, like
No
trying to do
balance.
everything at your
Yeah.
100% is like so hard.
Agreed.
Side note, so
Always.
okay, let me give you a little bit of context. I currently have my desk facing the window and I
Oh,
have like a
yes.
beautiful like
Amazing.
big tree, like I can't see anything except the tree, but
Oh.
because it's autumn, it's like the tree is like all orange and red. Um, but a squirrel, a family of squirrels, actually
Oh,
just 2 squirrels, just ran past my window. So cute.
nature. Oh my God.
Nature.
Now you can tell we're city girls. We're like, a squirrel.
A
You know what would be such a
squirrel.
beautiful time lapse? Imagine if every single day someone took a photo, like a silhouette of you from the window. Sorry, a photo of you on your desk with the window in the background. Like that would be such a cool silhouette of like the progression of like almost like you being like a studious student, like working, and the leaf changing. Oh, that would be beautiful. What an
That
artist
would be so cute, except
in
I
another
have to be
life.
completely honest with you. Every time I sit in my chair, so Princeton gives us these rocking chairs. Like we don't have like normal
Oh,
chairs in
really?
our dorm.
The
They like
wooden ones.
freaking rock, the
A
wooden
rock and
ones,
roll.
the rock and roll ones. And I sit in my chair in the weirdest positions, like one leg up, like both
Me
legs
right
up,
now. Me right now.
cross-legged,
Oh yeah.
stretching in the weirdest positions. Like if someone took
Oh,
a
yes.
time lapse, it would just be
Oh.
like, huh? Is that
Yeah.
girl's body
It's
functioning
like sitting
right
yoga.
now?
Yeah, no, I always get impressed with, particularly when I'm on the plane, but particularly when I'm on the economy window seat. My legs, dude, they're like origami at that point. I can't, like, I'm up, I like little position, weird up, weird down. I don't understand how, but somehow it's like it's the most comfortable. Worst is when you got your feet fall asleep on planes, or just in general.
Yeah.
I feel like I have no that okay that two things I would hate, two states I would hate to be stuck in for the rest of my life. Foot sleeping, like I don't know what to do with my life. Second of all, hiccups, because one time, weird but true, read a book. There was a guy who had hiccups for 73 years. So every time I have hiccups, I'm like, that could be me. That could be me. Like that would be so unfortunate. So yeah, that's not fun. Hiccups
for
are not
me,
fun.
it's also like pins and needles, because I feel like my pins and needles go up my entire leg. So I'm trying to act normal. Oh, is it?
Is that the same thing?
Is it
Yeah,
same?
yeah. It's like, it feels like.
Wait, I feel like one for me is like a tingling feeling, and the other one is like it's numb. Like I don't.
Yes. There's two versions. Yes, there's the numb feeling where like you could literally take a knife and like and you could amputate your foot and you're fine. And there's one that's like in physical pain.
Yeah. And you like walk and you're trying to act normal.
Yes.
But you can't because it hurts so bad. Oh my goodness.
I don't know the science behind it. I don't know if it's like a blood clot. I have no clue, but it hurts.
It hurts.
It really, really hurts. Yeah. Real quick, back to the sorry.
So hard from opportunities.
There was something I was gonna say. So for those of you who haven't picked it up yet, I have a lot of energy, and I kind of like doing a lot of different things. But then someone said to me, they were like, Ali, you have a lot of energy. Imagine if you focus all that energy onto one thing. And I was like, whoa. And it made me excited, but also not excited. Because like, I think what I love is I thrive in being able to have lots of different things going on. So
yeah,
although I think like technically speaking, like if I were to focus all my energy in one thing, that it could be great. But that's also not true to me. Of course, there's short times and that's great. But I think, I don't know. Do you know where I'm coming from with this?
Yeah. I think a good way to look at it is like, you're never going to just be doing one thing. But what I think is so special and something I'm really excited for, like post college, is to be at a place where like each like pie of my life, if that makes sense, like my social pie, my life pie, my personal pie, my work pie, like I'm dedicating that whole pie to like one flavor. Does that make sense? Like I'm like in work, like I'm excited to have like one job where like I have a lot of projects at the job, but I'm able to give my like 100% because like my whole pie is in that area. And then like my work pie, like my life pie could like be something completely different. And it's like another cool, awesome project for me. But like my entire pie is like there. I don't know. I guess I'm also kind of excited to just like explore a lot, like just like have a lot of different flavors, like try a lot of different things. But there's something nice about knowing like a 9 to 5 or like whatever work I choose to like have dedicated time to like one project and see it grow.
To be honest, I don't think that's ever going to be. I think both our minds are too active for it to be fully like that. Like I romanticize that all the time. And I think anytime I'm like, oh, I'm in a phase like in college now, I'm just going to focus on one thing. And then something comes up and I keep saying yes and yes and yes. So I'm the same page. Like I've romanticized that idea of like just having one thing I'm fully focused on. I'm like, oh, imagine if I could just go full time, even on the Entrepreneurs Network. I'm like, imagine if I could just go full time and this is like all I do. But I'm like, God, something would come up and I'd be so excited about that too. So no, I definitely know what you mean by that. Also, it's crazy to think of ourselves as like young adults as well. That's something so weird. Like I am a kid. I am a child. The thought of me, even the word post-college kind of freaked me out there. I'm like, wait, that's like 2 years away. That's not far. Hopefully it's 2 years.
Yeah.
Like a life. Imagine being like I kind of feel like, okay, in Shanghai, I've grown up a lot here. Like I haven't seen anyone for so long and like, it's pretty independent. Like there's no on campus buying food. Everything is by yourself. Like there's nothing kind of done. The idea of like, in the workforce fully, you are an adult, like people see you as an adult on the street
in the corporate America
terrifies me.
I know, terrifies me. It's crazy. I sat down with my faculty advisor yesterday to go over my courses for next semester, and I looked at it and I was like, holy shit.
Yes,
We've done almost 4 semesters. We only have 4 left.
Stop.
I know, until we graduate. Oh,
Stop. No.
that's
We didn't even graduate
crazy.
from high school, basically. Stop. We literally did not graduate from high school.
Like
The last
4 more
it's been-
semesters. That's
no.
crazy. That's nothing.
The semesters, it does kind of, college like is such a scam. They try to like draw out each semester. Like, no, in high school it was 4 years and you had one class for each year, basically. Here they have like 2 classes for each year, basically. So there's like 4 classes, or even a different college, if they do quarter systems, you have more classes. Like they make sure it looks like you get more bang out of your buck. You know what I mean? Even though you're technically going for less hours in school. Like, think about it. We had way more work in high school in terms of like course load, amount of homework, amount of class time. But think about it, dude. No, I mean, by time you were in class, we were in class in high school way more. 100%. Coursework, of course, it's so much harder and so much rigorous, but like time that you were like in class, that means we were not effective with our class time at all.
Yeah.
We were just being entertained.
But it's so like
it was daycare.
It was yes, and also you're at a younger age. That's true. A lot harder to be that responsible. But as a counterexample, I know some boarding schools, they just let their high schoolers plan their day like college students.
Oh, really?
Ooh, yeah,
I know I know the half day Wednesday, half day Saturday thing.
Oh, I don't know that one, but I do know
there's a couple of boarding schools. Yeah, there's a couple of boarding schools that do like a half day on Wednesday and then a half day on Saturday.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I know some boarding schools, like you pick your classes, like you pick classes in college. Like you
That's so cool.
Design your own schedule. Cool, but also
fully is there a core? Is there no core requirement? Like
so there's like core requirements. Like so it's kind of like college.
It's like college.
It's like a core requirement, but you can plan what time you want to take your classes and things based on the course schedule.
Yeah. I think objectively it works. It's going to work for some people who are immature, but for those who are like not mature at all, it's going to kill them. That's my take.
100%.
That is my take with that. What classes are you taking next semester?
Ooh,
I did mine yesterday too.
Ooh. I know. Oh my goodness. So I'm taking.
Can you be debating? Can you take a debating class though? Like actually,
I don't think
you're really
so.
good at debating.
But I think philosophy for me is kind of like that outlet of debate because like all of our classes are like 10 people like seminar classes and you just sit and you like talk about the readings, you like ask questions. It's so good.
Ooh.
So next semester, what I have in my queue is
let's hear up in the shopping cart.
I have algorithms and data structures.
Ooh, okay, data science.
The 3 kingdoms across media, which is like an East Asian class. I have international monetary economics. I have financial accounting. I have behavioral economics and public policy. And I have graphic design. And I think I'm going to drop at least 2, but this is
how many credits is that?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 right now. And I can take up to 5, but I'm going to definitely take 4, I think. My brain physically cannot do more.
That's crazy. Okay, that's so cool. And for each of these classes, for each of these classes, is it something that you can kind of, what's it called when you like go into a class, but you're not part of the class? I forgot what it's called. There's a word for it. When you look, you can sit in a class. Audit. Yeah. Can you audit any of the classes if you're just interested? In case like you don't want to like fully take it, but you just want to learn it a little bit?
Yeah. So like my idea going into the next semester, some context for you, is my ideal semester, I think, is 4 classes, internship, and then just like clubs and whatever.
Beautiful.
That's like perfect to me.
Ideal.
Algorithms and data structures is apparently kind of hard.
It's gonna be hard. So it's gonna be so hard. Yeah.
It's gonna be so hard. So
yeah, it's hard.
I'm trying to take like I need to take at least 1 or 2 econ classes. So I'm gonna do like that.
Behavioral's fun. Like, behavioral's also hot now. Like behavioral economics is such a sexy major. Like all the top universities now, they're all like starting behavioral economics majors. Like it's super sexy.
Yeah. I did behavioral econ research my junior year of high school. Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was really cool. So I'm like super interested in like getting back into the field now that I have like more knowledge.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Fingers crossed. It's like an intersection of psychology and econ, which a lot of people love.
Yeah. 100%.
So that's so cool. I'm excited for you. Did mine yesterday. Very competitive. You have to know the exact time to be on because they fill up. So I was ready at the computer. Refresh. I'm going to be at NYU Paris next semester. My first class I'm taking Whoop, whoop. I'm taking econometrics, which is like a mathy econ course.
Yeah.
Take it for data science and econ. Taking it from NYU Florence blended. So it's going to be virtual for the most part. But I'm planning on just popping over to Florence just for 1 week, just to take it in person for fun, just because. We'll see. I'm taking linear algebra, which is a mathy course at NYU Paris with the professor I actually have now, who's super cool. So we like that. I'm taking French. I've never taken French in my life. I've literally taken Chinese my entire life. I've never, actually, no. And the only other language I've learned is Hebrew. I'd go to Hebrew day school once or twice a week growing up. So I learned Hebrew, but yeah, I've never learned French. So I'm excited.
Wow.
And then, I'm taking a philosophy, the history of, what was it? Language and philosophy. I'm excited. I'm so excited. And also France is so interesting. I learned this yesterday. Unlike the US, or some other countries too, where the governmental system is based on like religion in many parts, the French government is super, super philosophical. Like it's all based on like philosophical properties. And like I was speaking to my friend yesterday, they're like, if you speak to someone like in France, they're like, all of their arguments or a lot of their reasoning comes from philosophy, which I think is super cool. So to be learning them in France, and like we're going like these field trips and all these like case studies are going to be in there. I'm super excited. There's also another class I might want to take. It's like something like through the eye. It's like Paris through the eyes of a smartphone. It's like a super chill class. It's like a 2 credit, but like it's somehow integrating like being in Paris, using your phone to like vlog it in some way or some. It's like one of these chill.
Are you kidding me? That's amazing.
I could be Emily in Paris, but also I would hate that for me. But also kind of love that for me.
100%.
Yeah. I'm excited.
That sounds
fun.
So exciting.
It will be fun. I'm excited for Saturday. It's the Wide Collective. We've been working very, very, very hard on that. Those of you don't know, it's the first Gen Z-led female entrepreneurship conference in Shanghai. Beautiful venue, beautiful speakers, panelists, promo, merch, the whole shebang. It's been super difficult to plan it, super challenging. Well, actually, no, more challenging than difficult, because challenging has a more positive connotation, has not been difficult. It's been so lovely. The response and the support and the people who have been excited about the event. So it's been fantastic. I've never planned an event this big and mass with like hundreds of people coming and like official, like paying for like expensive venues and vendors and legal stuff, which is cool. But it's been such a cool learning opportunity, and I'm excited to see where it goes. So we'll definitely be getting some photos and videos and all the fun social media content. So stay tuned for that. So I'm excited.
So excited. You have to tell me how it goes. Maybe first vlog.
Oh my god, yes. No, it's gonna be like a official vlog because we have like videographers coming, like good videographers. I'll send you a video of your video playing though. Weilyn did like a 10-minute keynote, and we're gonna play it there live because it's gonna be at like 3 a.m. or something ridiculous for a time, but it'll be fun. I'm so
excited that you asked me to do that video, because first of all, like, so cool to be able to share my entrepreneurial journey, but also second of all, I don't think I've sat down and like really recorded me saying it. And I didn't like, I was like, okay, like I did speech and debate in high school, like let me just like hop on like video record myself.
Okay, mock trial.
And it's nice to know that I still have that skill regardless of not practicing all the time. Like it's nice to know that I didn't have to like take notes. I can still like speak semi-eloquently. I was like, okay, speech and debate, I see you.
What are your top tips for someone writing or reading or talking, making a speech? What are your public speaking tips?
100%. I think one of the most important things is people love stories. Whenever I don't have anything to say, I tell a story because it's so much easier, so much more personal. And people love it. People love hearing about your life. People love hearing about your experiences. So my go-to is storytelling. And then, you know, if there's a cool insight to share after, share that cool insight.
That's so good. And also sometimes gives you time to stall. What's the rule of 3?
Say everything in 3s. Everyone loves 3. You have a problem, you give them 3 solutions. You have a process or a step-by-step thing, you give them 3 steps, because 3 is really easy to remember. Yeah. And also it makes you sound professional. You're like, let me tackle this problem from 3 different approaches. Step 1. And then as you do step 1, you can think about step 2 and step 3.
Oh my god, can you just do interview 101 prep? Like this is key. These are gold. Gold.
Love to see it.
Yeah, it's cool. Like everything is it is strange, I will say. Like it was almost like a diary for yourself, or like telling yourself your own story. Like 100%. How was that process of like reflecting on your own entrepreneurial journey, like for yourself? Like we ask everyone all day, oh, what's your entrepreneurial journey? But how was that like for you to like say it out loud just for yourself at first, at least?
Yeah. I think when I first did it, I actually like put it off for a couple of days because I was like, well, like
Yeah, it's a
my
lot.
entrepreneurial journey is like, I don't even know how to describe it. Like, I feel like it's not like a tech bro. It's not really, it's like very community driven.
Mhm.
And so I had to really like dig and think about it a lot.
Yeah.
Um, but it was also just kind of like a nice moment to be like, hey, like you've done a lot in the last couple of years. Like,
Oh yeah.
and like you don't really see that when you like write it on LinkedIn or you write it on your
True.
resume. It's like it's just like one other thing, but it's not just one other thing. It's like a thing, you know?
It's
I don't know.
true. It is true. No.
What about you? Like how has kind of like creating an event for entrepreneurs and for, the first one in Shanghai for females, like
Mhm.
how has that been?
It's been so cool, and like it's been allowing me to see all these journeys of females from around Shanghai, but also men, of course, who have been doing so many things behind the scenes that you just don't know about, and they've been too scared to post or share it. And with the call to action of like why wait, it's like why were you waiting before, why are you waiting now? We had this campaign of people going around answering the question again, why were you waiting, why aren't you waiting now? And like here people, I thought I didn't have enough money. I didn't think I was smart enough. I didn't think I was good enough. I didn't think anyone would buy the product. And like hearing all these self-doubts that so many of us face, it's almost unifying to know that like everyone's scared in some ways, but like once you get it out, like you're ready to get it out and you just want to share your stuff with the world. Like once it's out there, once it's splashed, like you were done. Like think about our podcast. We were kind of like, oh no, like who do we share? But like once it's out there, we're like, oh, share to the world, promote, share everywhere. It's like once it's out, you want to share it with everyone, which I think is so interesting. Like it's not gradual. Like you just once it's posted, once it's in the world, you're like everyone learn about it.
100%. Oh, I love it. I'm
Yeah.
literally so excited.
You'll be here one day in person. We'll do it all in person.
I know.
Yeah, it's crazy. Oh my goodness. Have you okay, kind of change the subject in general, but like the idea of missing someone is quite difficult to think about. How do you if you were to describe almost in a story, like what does it feel like to you when you miss someone? Do you feel like a sense of
Ooh.
love? Do you feel a sense of sadness? Like when you say I miss someone, like what comes to mind? Like if you can almost personify the feeling of missing someone, what does that mean to you?
That's so good. Um, I think it comes to me in a couple of different ways. The
Three
first is like
brain ways, actually.
three actually it comes to me in three different ways. Oh my goodness.
I will
It
use
comes
that
to
all
me,
the
I
time
think,
now.
physically
Mm,
as like either a sensation in my heart or a sensation in my like head almost, like it hurts.
mm,
Um, in terms of like how I know I'm missing someone, I think I start thinking about them a
yeah,
lot. Like it's
yeah.
either I think about them or I think about not memories per se, but like environments or things, like things start to remind me of them a
Mm,
lot. So like I've been missing home a lot. So I find myself on walks and things and like I think about, going on hikes in Hong Kong, or I think about like
yeah.
eating at a hawker center, or I think about like like core
Core
memories.
memories,
Core
not
memories.
inside out, inside out. That's
Mhm.
so true.
And I
Yeah.
think for me, I think a lot more about the environment that person made me feel than the
Yeah, you
person
told me about
itself.
this.
Like
Tell me more.
I don't like so I feel like okay, there's two things here. The first is like I
Not
think
three?
not three this time. The first is when I think I miss someone, I start thinking about the environment that they made me feel. Like they
Ooh.
start like so my mom, she like always cooks dinner for us. Like she always like has made dinner time like a very special thing. So like,
What was your favorite thing she made for you
oh my
growing up?
goodness. Oh, it has to
Tough
be
question.
so many things.
Okay,
Um,
top three.
top three.
Everything will be three from now on for
Everything
the
will
rest of
be
the
there.
episode.
Um, so clay pot rice, which is like
Ooh.
it's so good. I don't even know how to explain it.
Is it like
It's like
bibimbap?
hmm?
Is it like bibimbap? No.
No, no. I don't know how to describe it. It's just like rice in a clay pot and it's cooked so good.
Oh.
Um, my mom would always make us like she'd always make chicken rice for us, and she
Mm,
makes some of the best soups, like
classic.
Chinese soups. Oh, we love to see it.
Oh.
Um, sorry, kind of diverging, but
No, that
second
was
thing,
important. That was arguably the most important thing that
I
was
know.
discussed so far.
Second thing, I feel like everyone remembers events differently, but I feel like for
Yeah,
me, we'll
huge.
talk about that
Family dramas. Oh my God. That is
100%.
huge. I want to go into that after.
But also, like I feel like I remember things best out of conversations. Like when someone's like, oh, like, do you remember the passcode of this? I'm like, oh, like, do you remember we were talking about, tomatoes and apples? And then you like said this. And I remember it based on the conversations or like things that we said at that moment. And I realized people like think and remember experiences from like different auditory or different like smells or different, I don't know. I thought that was really interesting.
That's so cool. I also see that sometimes when I go through photos on my phone. I think about the time, how I felt. I remember the people I was with. Like, it's huge. Okay, let's go back to you said how people remember things differently. This can be great and also not so great, because something a term thrown around my family are emotional memories, which is kind of used as a dig. You're like, oh, that didn't happen. It was an emotional memory. But it's true. Sometimes think like let's say someone snubs you or accidentally someone like doesn't say hi to you. You didn't realize they didn't see you, but you see it as like that person wanted to kill me. That person is so mad at me. I don't know what I did. And that's an emotional memory, but that didn't happen. Like, what is objective happening? Like, tell me, philosopher, what is happening? What is reality? How do you say this objectively happened?
Yeah, that's so hard. And I don't think I have the answer for that, but
oh, not yet. Maybe next year's semester will teach you.
Maybe next year's semester will teach me. But something that I find fascinating is that our memory, okay, this goes back to like memory and failure. So I read a book about it. And the way that our memory constructs failure to be something so catastrophic is so fascinating.
Tell me.
Because so like when something bad happens to you, like you are main character energy in your head.
Main character energy?
So it could be the smallest of things, but your brain festers it into something huge. So like I remember, what was it? 7th grade of middle school. I fell down the stairs and I landed like face flat with like all of my papers like spread out on the floor. And I remember this boy, and I remember exactly who it was, stood there and asked me, he looked down at me and asked me, "Are you okay?" And he probably doesn't even remember this at all. Like not even in my memory. Like he probably doesn't even remember this specific day. But like for some reason, that like failure of like public, like being like, like prim and proper in public, like was so shattering that like it's such a like a core, like not a core memory for me, but like it's like a catastrophic one in my head. Isn't that crazy?
It's so crazy how random things just stick. 100%. Like it makes no sense. Why do random things stick?
I know.
Random memories. Like looking back, why do I remember like the tiniest details of my primary school? Like there's no reason why.
It's crazy.
Like specific tiny details. Like smells are a big thing with memory too. Memory is such an there must be, I'm not a psychology major, but there must be specific classes about memory. I'd love to learn more about memory specifically in psychology.
I think that would be fascinating.
Right?
I think also the way memory, so I can tell like a quick anecdote, but like the way memory is used in like court cases too is fascinating because people remember things so differently. You have the classic case of people or like a woman who was raped and she's shown like a bunch of photos and she told herself like she would remember the face of like the person who assaulted her for like the rest of her life. When shown 5 different men, she like identifies the wrong person. And it's like cases like that where it's like, whoa, like what are the extents and limits of our memory? Crazy.
That's crazy. No, but even in courts as well, memory is not used anymore as a reliable source. Like if you have a camera that saw someone steal something and the person goes, I don't steal it, I don't remember that, you're going to trust the camera. And I think that's a lot of the reasons we have technology, to be sort of this like objective source of information sometimes. Like in China, surprise, surprise, there's so many cameras everywhere. You don't need anyone's memory. There's like 12 cameras on each like block. I'm not even joking. Like it's crazy. Like that is the memory. That is you watching. You don't need a memory anymore if you have it even on your phone sometimes. Like, ooh, thoughts on jogging your memory. Like what does that mean to you? When I say, oh, I'm jogging your memory, what do you think about?
For me, immediately I think about that time when you have a word that you're trying to say and someone's like, and you're like, you just like really want to say that word. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like,
Mhm.
for example, you like forget the word bubble and you're like, that thing, like you blow it and like
Yeah.
it becomes something, and then you're like trying to figure it out and people are trying to
Yeah.
like jog your memory about it. And you're like,
Yeah.
no, that it's not like
It's not that.
it's not potatoes. It's
Oh, you're like, I'll know it when I hear it. I know it starts with an F or something things like that. Like,
yeah.
why do we know it starts with an F? It's because we like remember the sound. Like, I think it's so much, a lot
And
of
it's
stuff
like
with
it
language as
itches
well.
you. It's like, oh, like
Language.
I want to know.
Yeah. It's always when it's like the simple things too. And a lot of the times it's like repetitive, like, oh, I always forget this word, or I don't know what. Oh, memory is so interesting. My goodness.
I know.
My goodness. And it's a scary part of like, that's why I don't have any inclination to get any disease when I'm older, but one that I really don't want to get out of all of them would be what's it called? See, this is how ironic is this? What's it called when you lose your memory?
Is it Alzheimer's?
I think Alzheimer's. Yeah, exactly. See, that was a good example. But yeah, like the idea of losing your memory, like forgetting people or forgetting your loved ones, is like one of the most tragic things I can only imagine. Like imagine forgetting your siblings, your parents, your children. Like I find that so just, oh my God, like ripping my heart, really ripping my heart. Yeah, it's sad.
Oh,
I know, but uh, there's lots of things happening, I think, to help there's like preventive things. There's a lot of great work going on right now to help with long-term preventions of diseases that happen to you when you're older, like things to prevent that, which is cool. Like, and that's a lot to do with lifestyle. Like, I'm sure you know this, but it's it's a success in many ways of the human race because we've stopped dying of like famine and that sort of thing. But now the number one cause of death is lifestyle. Like heart attacks, all these things, like they all come down to like lifestyle. And it's like, whoa, you can control your lifestyle to some degree, and like you can make yourself live longer, live a healthier life. Like everything from like how you're sleeping, what you're eating, pollution, exercise. Like you can like change how long you're gonna live, like from your day-to-day life, which is like
that's
so small. I think like it's crazy.
I think one thing about lifestyles that has always kind of like boggled my mind is when you're younger, you're presented with like basically like two black and white options. Like my dad would be like, oh, like, like live life to the fullest. Like if I'm on my deathbed, like I don't want to be thinking about like how I chose a salad over, a hamburger or something. And then there's the other side of it that's like swim every day, like work out every day, eat good, eat healthy, and you'll live a long and fulfilling life. And for so long, I looked at these two options as like completely separate. Like you could either have one or the other.
Sure.
And it only occurred to me like 2 or 3 years ago that like it's not just the two, like it's a spectrum of things. Like
absolutely.
you don't have to choose like one or the other. Like it can truly be like a balance of them. But I think at a young age, you're just presented with like either you're healthy or you're not. You're either a couch potato or you're not.
That's true.
One of the funniest phrases I learned recently is NARP. Have you heard of NARP?
I know LARP, live action role play. Definitely not what you're referring to.
Non-athletic regular person.
Oh, that's funny. I like that. Regular that's not a phrase. Like that sounds like a translation from another word, regular person. Like that's not an English term.
Non-athletic regular person, a NARP.
Like you don't use, like you would say, oh, you're a normal person. No one uses the word regular person. That's so funny.
I love it. And I think it's
even
like
NARP is funny.
For so long, I was like, well, I'm a NARP. Like that's it. Like I just am. But like it's not a permanent state,
It's not a permanent person.
I can't.
No.
I love
NARP.
it.
I've come from a long line of NARPs. What is that?
I know.
Oh my God.
NARP.
That's
or like
funny.
I remember someone on the crew team was like, oh, I come from like a family of just NARPs. And I was like, what? They're like, yeah, so everyone in my family is just non-athletic regular. And I was like, oh, okay.
That's so funny.
I love it.
Oh, that's a good one. I was not okay. My whole thing is what my dad grew up in Toronto. His parents did not, at least this is what he says. His parents did not like as a family activity do like hikes and swims and runs, and he was very resentful to him to this day about that. He's like, I wish they taught me like how to exercise or how to have some sort of physical activity. And he really didn't want that for my sister and I. So ever since a young age, in addition to, of course, like as all kids are enrolled in like ballet and dance and tennis and soccer. Like we did a lot of family physical exercise activities. Like we would
That's
go on a lot of
huge.
hikes and runs, and that's how my whole running thing started. And like I think it's I should probably tell this to him, but I'm like, you know what? You did it. I think every parent goes in like with their kids, like, I'm never gonna do this to my kid, or I'm gonna do this to my kid because my parents never did it. This one, it worked out. He knew his goal. He goes, I didn't want to do it, and he succeeded. Nicole and I are pretty athletic, and I think it's because of him. So
I
yeah,
love
that's kind of
that.
cool. Was there
Yeah.
anything right now? You're not gonna have a kid right now, knock on wood. No one's having kids anytime soon. But right now, is there anything in particular? Not this isn't a bash at your parents. This is an appreciation of good things and bad things, and not everyone is aligned on like what you think is like the most important value. Is there anything that you were going to do that you wished your parents had done, or like a value or some sort of activity? I don't know. What are your
Mhm.
thoughts?
Two things for you. The first, languages. I tell my parents
Ooh,
this all the time, but I
yes.
wish that they had just like taught me when I was younger, or spoke to me in like the 4 or 5 different languages. Like I wish I learned Hakka.
Polyglot.
I wish I learned
Oh,
Hokkien, English, Chinese, Dutch, like all when I was younger, so that now
oh
I
my
don't have to
God.
struggle through it. I think that's huge. And
Yes.
I definitely want, my kids in the future to be able to like speak the dialects that I was never able to speak. Um,
Mm.
because I think it's so important for just like culture wise, and like especially having moved around a lot. I think if I had learned languages that connected me back to Singapore, I would feel a lot
Oh,
more connection back home than I do right now.
yeah.
Which is a whole other thing. But the second thing, definitely the exercise piece. Like I grew up in a family where like we didn't prioritize like going on family walks or things like that. Like we definitely had a lot of family time, which I
Mm-hmm.
loved. But
Beautiful.
family time, I think besides skiing, like skiing was probably our big one that
Ooh.
we did like a lot of exercise, but
Yeah.
throughout the year, like I would love to like grow up in a family that like we do just like a lot of physical activity. I think it's so important and like builds good habits.
Totally. That's awesome. Those are really two good points. I would agree with them. I think my parents both speak French, and they didn't teach me French. They
Mm-hmm.
actually, in spite, they would speak French. So Nicole and I wouldn't understand them. One of the infamous phrases is "Les enfants ne disent pas," don't tell the kids. So sad. Anyways, that was that. So definitely the language element, and like they speak other languages too. Like my dad's really great at languages. Actually, he
I
speaks
love
like
that.
he speaks English, obviously. He speaks English, French, Spanish, a lot of Polish as well. He doesn't speak any Chinese. He's lived in Hong Kong for 28 years. Crazy. He also speaks fluent Bahasa Indonesian. He would travel to Indonesia a lot growing up. He speaks fluent Indonesian. Like so random, but very cool. Very cool. Terima kasih banyak. Like fantastic.
Oh,
Yeah. Things I wish. If you're to ask me with my parents, I'm sure I tell them like 9 things a day. Whenever there's a good fight, it all comes out. But retrospectively now, in a more calm state of mind, things I'm gonna do. I think this is kind of more deep. I want to show to my kids more, not just kind of. I go back and forth with this. I was gonna say like not be busy for your kids, but also it's like kind of good in some ways. Like my parents are very, very busy people, and I get really frustrated literally to this day. Sorry, like I can't answer into work. Sorry, like this isn't important now. I can't talk now. And like it like every time it digs at me, it digs at me, digs at me, digs at me. So as cliche was like I want to be able to be with my kids every single night. And like also this is gonna become more prevalent as we get older, but like very strictly like no phones at the table, like very strictly. Like I think it's so powerful. Like even having your phone on the table creates a completely different vibe when you're at a restaurant or when you're having dinner. Like phones completely ruin the vibe.
100%. I think like I agree with that. And I think like our parents did a good job. Look at us now.
No, we're good. No, we are big fans of the Chongs. We are big fans of the Bows. You guys did
I
well.
know.
It's the little things. Yeah. Yeah, but phones are a big thing as well. That's something huge. Oh my God, my parents, amazing. Now, no offense, kids are bored at a restaurant. They're given like an iPad to just like sit at the table, and now they're like brain dumb. My mom, God bless her soul, and she talks about this even now a lot. She's like, wherever in the world, we schlepped you around. We brought car seats. You had sunscreen on, and you always had coloring and activity books, and you would draw and you would do activities. Like you were engaged with like learning and reading and books everywhere, which I love. And she's like, no, another thing she's like, Ali, you're good at math. Why? Because whenever we were in a car park, we'd find our car part number and I would make you add them. And then when you got bigger, we would do multiplication. That's how she credits mathematic skills too, which God bless the woman, but like, my goodness.
I love that. It's the little things for sure.
Oh, for sure.
I always,
Bedtime
whenever
reading.
I think about like grabbing my phone or like looking at my phone when I eat dinner or something like that, I always think back to like, okay, like in 10 years, like I'm not going to remember what I searched up or like what Instagram post I liked at that moment. Like truly, I'm going to just remember like, did I enjoy that dinner? Did I enjoy the conversation that I had?
That's true.
Like it's almost like fighting an addiction, truly, right?
Yes.
It's not something that fulfills you in any way. It's something that like relaxes you, I guess, to some extent, but like just being able to be present in the moment is so hard, but so rewarding for sure.
That was something I struggled with friends in high school as well. Like we'd sit at lunch and we'd all be sitting together and everyone was on their phone. I was like, what the fuck's going on? This is not lunch. Everyone's sitting there in silent on their phones eating, but we're all together just so it doesn't look like you're alone. I'm like, everyone's alone. Like, what are you talking about? No one's talking to each other.
Yeah.
So that was so sad.
But okay, I'm gonna put a caveat into our argument here.
Sure.
I think sometimes it's important to recognize that you need like alone time. Like and not alone time, not alone time and just like, oh, like I'm gonna journal, I'm gonna meditate. Sometimes you just need like shitty alone time, you know, like you just need to like sit down, be on your phone, do whatever you need. And that's okay. Like it's okay to take like 30 minutes to just like scroll through Instagram, like stalk that person you want to find out more about. Like go do that. Cause like I remember like sometimes we take like day trips to New York, right? And like it'll reach like 4:30. We've been like walking the entire day.
Yeah.
And then we like find a Starbucks, we sit down and everyone for like 10 minutes, like you just need to like sit. Like you've been like,
oh yes.
And that moment like is so rejuvenating.
It's
sometimes.
Needed. Yeah. For sure. I used to think, no, I totally agree. That's something I've learned as well. Because I think if like we weren't having an engaging conversation every second, like you hated me, I hated you, it was something bad. But sometimes like it's not even sometimes, it's always good to have like lulls in conversation. Yeah. This we should talk about in a whole other episode, but just the importance and the lulls and like less is more. Less is more.
Yeah. Like or like that. Not being scared of silences in conversations.
Huge. Enormous. Also, for those who are listening, I've transitioned from melon to dragon fruit. Now I'm on to strawberries. It's strawberry season. Side note, I'm gonna finish on this note actually. So, Weilyn, I'm sure you know aphrodisiacs, right? Things that make you like a sexual drive. So I've realized that all my favorite foods also happen to be aphrodisiacs. I don't know. That's just a hot take. I love strawberries. Always buy a ton. Ginger, like go to the sushi restaurant, like bring 3 bowls of it basically. Salmon, literally comfort food. Avocados, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I don't know. You interpret that of what you will, but I've realized there's some good things on there. And I'm imagining like the next Californian diet, paleo, keto. No, the aphrodisiac diet. February comes around. Why do they serve strawberries during why are strawberries a thing on February 14th? Because aphrodisiacs. Why are oysters always on the menu? Aphrodisiacs. All the oyster around. I know. Dude, random. I want to learn more about food science. That's really interesting too.
100%. That would be so
crash
cool.
Course. Netflix should do a documentary about food science. That would do
well. I think they did, probably.
Did they? Probably. Yeah. That would be good. They've got a lot of good stuff. Good. Anyways, let's wrap up. Any final thoughts?
Well,
going into the weekend?
You know what? I'm going to wrap us up with some opportunities. Like this episode, we had planned out. We had like an outline written for this. And we took the opportunity just to vibe out. So
vibe out.
Exactly. Apologies if it was kind of a little bit all over the place, but that's kind of the point of this podcast, just to take you where we take ourselves.
Exactly. We get lost too. I really do feel we are in that scene at Inside Out where joy and sad and that Fizbo or whatever that the character, they're kind of walking through. Like that's us right now. That is the personification of our mindset during these podcasts. And that's great. There's rough plans. There's nothing serious. And that's it. Okay. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. As always, please, please, please follow us on the socials, the Entrepreneurs Network. Everything will be linked below. The best thing you can do for us really is send us a note on DM or email about what you like, what you don't like. We're going to be doing a full rebrand of just the whole network in general in December and January. So stay tuned for that. But we just want to connect with people. We want to hear you. We want to hear your stories as well. We want to start to bring on perhaps a guest or a third person for these podcasts too, to kind of have these casual conversations. So if that's something you're interested in, do let us know. Our DMs and emails are always open. We read every single email. We read every single DM.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So if you liked this episode, be sure to follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcast. One of the best things you can do to support this podcast is to go on Apple Podcasts, search Kinda All Good, and rate and review this podcast. Would be great if you rated us a 5-star review. That would be awesome.
Don't go on there. Go on here. If you don't like this podcast and you're gonna go ahead and rate 1 star,
just skip this part.
Just skip it.
Have a wonderful day.
If you got nothing to say, don't say anything.
Although any engagement is good engagement. So
if you hate on us so hard though. Like, don't just be a fake hater. Like, hate on us so hard. Just
pull out.
Comment a lot. Share with all your friends that you hate us. Post on social media that you hate it. Oh my goodness. Anyway, I think that's enough for us. Thank you guys so much. Hope you have a kind of all good day. Bye.